Hello everybody, and welcome to a new kit build. Today we're going to be building this mini Tesla coil, plasma speaker, yada yada. It's a mini Tesla coil. I got it from Alice1101983, probably one of my favorite sellers on eBay. They sell a lot of really fun, cheap stuff. Some of it's not so great quality, but when you're paying $1 for a doohickey that you want to play around with, you know, it was only $1, so why not? Anyway, so it's $5.09 US, free shipping. Not really a bad deal. The only issue I have is that it came with no instructions. So, we're going to possibly have to improvise a little bit as we build it. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. Now, I'm going to be using my my soldering iron that I got from Banggood, my new one. See how well it performs. I'm also watching somebody's dog, so you might hear him moving around or making some noise in the background. That's just Wally. Anyway, let us go ahead and get started. There's not much to do. Thankfully, the circuit board here is all very nicely populated with values and names and everything. So we'll just go right on ahead and get started with the resistors. We can see here on the board we've got two 10K resistors and two 2K resistors. And we've got the 5-band resistors here. Oh, I'm missing one. Where did it get off to? Where are you, resistor? I don't think this is the one. This might be. Oh, that's a different resistor. Uh-oh. Well, we're already off to a great start with a missing resistor. Well, we'll just figure out which resistor we need and replace it from my stock of resistors elsewhere. And then as soon as I do that, the missing resistor will show up. Oh, there it is. It was on my lap somehow. Alrighty. So we've got two 10K resistors with the 5 color band resistors. That's going to be brown for one, black, red is what it should be. So here we go. We got brown, black, red there, and brown, black, red here. So let's go ahead and put those in. I'm going to demonstrate how this thing works. You just measure the gauge of the holes. So looks like we're at about 0.4. So in order to bend those properly, we're just going to go ahead and have somebody arrive home. Okay, sorry for that brief interruption. Now we'll just go ahead and continue. So I've gone ahead and folded the leads down for those resistors. Of course, now I've gotten them all mixed up again. So we need the brown, black, reds. They're the 10K resistors, and one goes here, according to the board, because it says 10K on the board, and the other one goes right on over here, also where it says 10K on the board. Alright, so these ones are fitting a little loose, so I'll do my standard solder one lead, like so, and then we'll get the resistor nicely seated by basically you just put your finger on the resistor and heat up the joint and let it settle in nice. This board has plated through holes, so get some really nice, strong solder joints. Alrighty, so there's those resistors in place. Now we'll go ahead and seat the 10K or the 2K resistors, which is going to be red, black, black, brown, because it'll be 2, a 0, and then one more 0 for 2K. So we'll go ahead and seat these. Drop that one in there. And then this one goes in over here. Like that. And again, we'll do the same thing. Just solder on one lead. And one lead. Make sure it's nice and properly seated. There we go. Oh, and singe my finger a little. And then center that one. And now we're set. Oop, just knocked my roll of solder over. There we go. Alright. Now we're just going to go ahead and quickly crop off those leads. And we'll move on to the next set of components. How's my audio? I'm going to move the mic a little closer to my face here. There we go. I tend to start talking a lot quieter when I'm doing these videos. And I get into a sort of a Zen Bob Ross sort of mode. Alright. Next thing, well, let's go ahead and throw the LEDs on. One's going to be the power LED based on what I've seen from pictures, so we'll make that one red. We'll go ahead and positive lead is the long one in these. I'd like to look and make sure there's sort of a triangular anvil-ish shaped side. That's always the cathode, the negative side, so you can also make sure that way. Some LEDs are backwards, like the gallium arsenide IR LEDs that I purchased from eBay. I'll be doing a video on those in a little while. Alright, so I'm gonna just flow on some solder on one of those leads, do the usual, seat it nicely down. There we go. Go ahead and solder the remaining lead. There we go. Alright. I'm liking this soldering iron so far. Wasn't super expensive. Did a video on it. Throw a card on it right there. Assuming I remember. I always forget to put cards when I say I'm going to put cards. I need to like keep a notebook whenever I do a video. Say, on this video you need to do a card. Alright, let's do this little electrolytic capacitor here. 1 microfarad. By its positioning on the board, I'm thinking, yeah, it's a little decoupling capacitor for the audio input, because this Tesla coil has the option to put an audio input and make the spark sing, as it were. Like you see those Tesla coils. You know, you see the viral videos of Tesla coils playing like the Imperial March or whatever. And yeah, it has that option. There we go. Slightly temperature sensitive component, those electrolytic capacitors. Don't want to get them too hot because you'll start to boil the electrolyte inside the capacitor, and that is not a good result. Alright, the next component we'll throw on here is going to be this 105 capacitor, or 10 and 5 zeros here, so 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 1 nanofarad, right? No, 1 micro. but this one is 0.1 micro, and it's a ceramic capacitor, or metal. This one is actually, I think, a metal film capacitor instead of an electrolytic. The electrolytic ones are polarized. Okay. Yeah, that one, I just realized I didn't really center this one very well, but that's fine. Alright. So, our next components, I guess we'll go ahead and put the Mosfet and the let's see, this is that's the Mosfet there, so this must be the transistor, power transistor. Oh no, that's BD243. That's the Mosfet, yes? No, wait. I can't remember now. I looked them up. Oh, it says here handily on the base ECB, so that must be the transistor. Now, these come with a nice big honkin' heatsink, and I'll show you a little trick for making sure that you get the heatsink, or the transistor, properly aligned onto the board for the heatsink. So you loosely put the transistor onto the heatsink, and then flip it over, and then solder on one of the pins, preferably one that doesn't involve the ground plane, like so. And then you can go ahead and remove the heatsink and proceed to do the rest of the pins. The reason why you leave the heatsink off is to, one, make it a little easier to solder it so that the heatsink isn't pulling the heat away from the pins, but also because the heatsink is rather unwieldy and gets in the way. Alright, so there's that done. We'll repeat that process with this Mosfet. Like so. Oh, come on there. There we go. Threads were a little dirty on that one. And stay away from my soldering iron. There we go. And we'll sink that onto there. Oh, I am detecting a mild issue here, being that... Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put this heatsink on properly. Otherwise, I won't be able to screw it on later because of the way the circuit board is built here. So, making sure I don't have any other components that I'm going to have to put on later. I probably should put some heat transfer compound on this, but it was only $5, so whatever. Alright. Yeah, that's a tight fit there. So we're going to go ahead and tighten this good and give it a good torque down. Clips that in. Why does that have a hole? Is that just a plated through hole? Yeah, that's just a through hole. Alright, now we'll go ahead and solder the Mosfet on. How are we doing? Yep, we're doing fine. There we go. How am I doing for time? Only got 9 minutes left on this recording. That should be okay. Alright. Trim these leads. Alright, now comes the challenging part, and that's soldering the tie pins for the heat sinks. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the soldering iron up to 430 degrees, which is much higher than I normally solder. but being as I'm going to be soldering onto a big thick pin onto a ground plane here, I want to make sure that I have plenty of heat. Boy, did that work a charm. Alright, so this soldering iron can step up to the plate of soldering a heatsink. That's nice to know. There we go. And there we go. So that's the heat sinks attached to the board. Now, I guess I should have done these before I did the heat sinks. Oh well. So we'll do the power connector next. It's the normal octopus hand holding soldering technique here. We'll sort out the alignment here. Get it nice and straight, unlike me. There we go. And complete the remaining pins. Nice big cloud of soldering smoke there. And we'll resolder the initial pin because it didn't really get a lot of solder on it. There we go. Alright. That looks great. Let's go ahead and trim those off. Ow. There we go. Alright. Next thing is going to be the audio input jack, which we're going to have to do the same thing with. Solder one of the pins on using a complicated formation of fingers. There we go. Make sure we've got it nice and square. There we go. Oh, I can turn this down now. Turn it back to 330, which is where I normally solder. I actually normally solder at 300, but this iron doesn't have the option for 300, so 330 it is. I'll just fill these holes up with solder. Really generously sized through holes on this board. There we go. Alright, and the next stage is this big coil here. Now, initially I thought the coil was supposed to get soldered here and here, but that's actually not correct. The only place this coil gets soldered is right here. This is completely, that's just I forget the term, it's a plated through hole that they use to jump sides on the board. So the only side that we actually need to solder for this great big huge coil is right there. And this is going to prove to be a little challenging to accomplish. Let me see if I can kludge a way to do this a little bit more effectively. So I want to go through that hole there. Come on, there we go. And maybe, yeah, that should be good enough. Alright. Now, I'm going to have to hope, I'm going to actually clean the tip off here a little bit. I'm going to have to hope that I can burn off the epoxy coating on this just by holding the iron on it for an extended period of time. That's how I normally get enameled wire to stick. I'm just going to heat it up a little bit on this side. Make sure that it's properly soldered on. There we go. Looks good to me. Alright, now comes the complicated part, which tell you what, I will be right back. Alright, so I'm back, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this two-part epoxy, and assuming I can get the lid off, jeez. There we go. And what you do with it is you just squeeze a little bit out into this little dollar store plastic shot glass, and you want to pull it back just a little bit. Put an air bubble in the tip there, and then you put the lid back on. And then I'm going to go ahead with this toothpick, give it a bit of a stir. I'm not going to make you guys sit here for the whole 5 minutes, but I'm just going to stir it up here, make sure it's really good and well mixed. And then scoop up a generous blob of it onto this toothpick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bunch on the inside of that little PVC tube. Like so. So that when I set it back upright, the epoxy will actually flow down and adhere this tube to the board. Yeah, you can see it going down and starting to spread out there. So I'm going to let that do its thing, but I'm not going to make you guys sit here and watch, so I'll be back one more time. Alright, so a few minutes have passed and the 5-minute epoxy is almost set, and I figured while it was finishing setting I'd describe what we have to do for the next step. Now, this big coil here is actually the secondary winding of a transformer, and the primary winding is going to be this wire, which is going to form one turn around this and then solder into these 2 points, which is going to be a little bit challenging, but yeah, we'll see what we can do. So we're just going to get the soldering iron heating back up here. This is almost completely set. It's set enough to do what we need. So what I'm going to start by doing is I'm going to, oh, this is going to be interesting. I'm going to solder this wire in on this side first. Let's get my solder unearthed here. There we go. Alright, so I'll go ahead and that do the trick? That did the trick. Alright, so now we bring this around. Oops, I'm probably going way out of shot, I apologize. We've got to bring this around and tuck the tip of that wire into this hole. There we go. And then solder it on this side. There we have it. That's the primary winding of that transformer. Okay, so the next stage is just all mechanical stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off my soldering iron here and set it off carefully to one side. Hopefully somewhere where it will cool down without burning anything. Alright, so the next stage is to build the feet. Now we've got these 4 brass standoffs and a bunch of extra screws. I don't know what the point of that was. But anyway, so we're going to carefully, because the epoxy is still a little pliable, so we don't want to push on it too hard, but we're going to carefully socket that on, and then repeat the process here. And then on the other side, oh, that's handy, the primary winding is acting as a sort of a cushion while I flip this up. And then one more right here. Bear with me a second here while I figure out what I did with the box of bits. Oh, there it is. It's right next to me. Alright, so open my piece of... Not quite. Alright, so it must have been this one. Yep. And we'll just give these a good tighten down. Just with the not quite correctly sized socket, oh well. But it's good enough, it gets the trick done. Alright, so there's that finished. Now, I am a tiny bit nervous to turn this thing on, given the nature of Tesla coils, but what the heck, we'll give it a try. I've got a 12-volt power supply here, and we'll go ahead and plug it in. I'm not too sure if you can see that. Oh yeah, you can just see the corona discharge there. That's fantastic. Alright, so I'm going to reach over here. And, sorry headphone users, I'm going to grab a standard, bog standard, compact fluorescent light here. I'm going to bring it into proximity of the Tesla coil, and you can see it light up. See that? Isn't that cool? Just like that. So we know that the Tesla coil is definitely working there. I can also grab my maybe hear that, I'm not sure. I'm getting a very strong smell of ozone here. Now, just for fun, I'm going to turn my light off. There we go. And now you can definitely see the corona discharge on the tip of that wire. So there we have it. That's the Tesla coil built. That's a pretty good result. I'm a little nervous about hooking an audio system up to it at the moment, so I'm gonna have to try to find an MP3 player or something that I don't care about to test that particular function. So thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that like button, start a discussion in the comments below. If you haven't already, click here to subscribe and click the bell icon and next to the subscribe button down there below, just above the video description. Right over here I will put a video that YouTube thinks you'll like based on your watching habits. Over here will be my kit builds playlist, and right here over top of the wire that I really don't want to get too close to is the Patreon link that you can pledge a couple of dollars a month if you'd like to help me buy things to build on the channel. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.